My name is Karen Landsberg, and I came to OUUC a little over 7 years ago. I was raised Unitarian, so I've always considered myself Unitarian, but haven't attended church or been a member of a church as an adult. I was starting to take care of my dad down in Corvallis, Oregon, and saw the help that he was getting from the fellowship down there. And I said, I want to be a member of a community like that. And so I started coming to service, and then fairly quickly went through the new member orientation and joined the church.
My name is Joe Joy. Susan and I first came to OUUC back in the 80s. Our kids were asking questions about religion, God, that sort of thing that we couldn't answer. So we had been married by a UU minister, but had not had any kind of connection with the UU church, really. But we thought, well, you know, looking at different religions, I had been raised Catholic, she had been raised somewhat Presbyterian. So we looked up the UU church, and it was it was a fellowship in Tumwater, and we joined then in the 80s with, at that time, two kids, Megan and Alice. And that's how it all began.
My name is Dieter Jacobs, and I first came to OUC as a child. I attended in Tumwater at the old original church, so I have all these old memories of the church there, and I grew up in the church, and we were fairly active, and I remember my dad helping out with some of the remodeling and cutting down trees, and I was pretty active in the church and really enjoyed it. And then I went away to college down in Portland, and I ended up living down there for about 20 years. And then moved back here about 8 years ago to the new building, and decided I wanted to start getting involved. Now my kids were active, I was coaching soccer and doing all this, so I kind of slowly reintegrated myself and came by and visited and realized this was still the wonderful community that I remembered. It was a different place, and some same faces, but a lot of new faces. But the spirit was here, and I said, you know, I remember this spirit. And I can see reminders of it around me physically and spiritually, regularly.
At first it was primarily for our children that we were doing this, and so we really appreciated that piece was being taken care of for us in terms of religious education. And then we became involved in the religious education program, being teachers and such. And through that process we were able to develop some very, very tight friendships with friends here at OUUC.
The difference OUUC has made in my life is it's a place where I feel like I come and I know people and I'm known. It's people who I share values with, where we're working together on something larger. It's a place where I guess I'm part of something bigger than myself, which I appreciate.
We lost a daughter 10 years ago. That was difficult. That was, I have never been one to want to bother people. They came and bothered me by being so generous, and it taught me that you need to open up to the generosity of people, and it's something I'll never forget.
This is such a generous and giving group of people here, this community of our church. It encourages and inspires me to give more of myself, both here at the church and in other places in the community. Seeing that commitment of folks, it's also modeling the world I want to live in, that I see other people doing, and I really appreciate that.
You know, it has been a big part of our life in terms of community that we really cherish, and are it's kind of a foundation for our network of friends and network of people we care about and things we care about. So we feel that we should support it.
I give to OUUC because it's important to me that it exists, and I know that it needs money to run and to function. It's pretty basic element of keeping any organization going is having the funds to pay the staff to keep the lights on, buy the computer equipment, keep that running. We just can't do everything with volunteer work, and so we need finances to keep the basics of the church running, and it's important to me, and so I'm willing to contribute to that.
I've chosen to give a portion of my income, what I can afford, to the church because this community matters to me. This is a great group of people. We have a positive impact in Olympia, and I've known that. I grew up here. I moved back here. I'm still part of this community, and I see the wonderful things that we do. And you got to keep the lights on. You got to keep the lights on. You got to heat the place. You've got to have a place to come for a community to gather. It's hard to gather if you're not feeling safe and comfortable and warm, and you don't have that ability to think about and spend time together and break bread together, and laugh together and learn together, maybe even cry together.